And we'll begin the news with updates surrounding news of the hashtag #EndBad governance. The Nigeria Police Force has added 2 more charges to the ones filed against the hashtag #EndBad governance protesters at the Federal High Court in Abuja. This was at the resumed trial on Friday, where the prosecution also arraigned a new protester among those initially arraigned. News Center's Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
The only female protester, Angel Innocent, currently on trial, now enjoying her freedom. On the other hand, Michael Adaramoye, also called Lenin, and a few others, seen in handcuffs, continue to work to meet up with their bail conditions before they can regain their freedom. The resumed trial saw a new protester arraigned, making the total number of protesters on trial to be 11, with 2 amended charges slammed on them, a situation their lawyer says is very disheartening.
It is something that flimsy charges that is unbecoming of a prosecution to add that particular charges. That is terrorism. I don't even know why terrorism or protest became a terrorism act. Well, although we sincerely appreciate the kind ruling of the court, which they granted all the defendants, or admitted all the defendants to bail.
One additional person was arrested, who is also linked to the charge. And that is why the charge was amended and to include him. So, and today we apply, and the court granted the application for amendment. And that is why a fresh plea was taken. Because once a charge had been amended, a fresh plea of the defendant had to be taken.
Meanwhile, trial judge Emeka Nwite has maintained that the bail granted to all the protesters stands. The trial continues on November 8th and 11th this year. In Abuja for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
And now to judicial matters. As part of the programs lined up to formally herald the 2024-2025 legal year of the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Akikere-Ekun, was swearing 87 new senior advocates of Nigeria on Monday at the main courtroom of the court. Now, a statement by the Director, Information and Public Relations, Festus Akande, on Friday said that the CJN will deliver a State of the Judiciary address with a view to highlighting the performance of the Supreme Court in particular and the Nigerian judiciary in general in the 2023-2024 legal year. In the same vein, other leading stakeholders in the justice sector will present speeches bordering on the state of the justice sector of the country. Earlier, Tunji Abdulhamid, a legal practitioner, joined us for more on this. Take a look.
From July this year, every year, judges go on vacation and they return back first week or second week of September, depending on the time. So they now the new section, the new legal year is to start, and they do have activities in that regard. So this one will mark the beginning of the new legal year for the 2024-2025. So it's normal, it's not new. It's been there like that. And part of the activities is to also train a senior advocate of Nigeria. Those have been confirmed as senior advocate of Nigeria. So they will be doing their initiation tomorrow or Monday. That is started. So it's not something new. It's normal. It's part of the activities. Other states also will do their own. Apart from the Supreme Court, each state will have their own legal year activities. Lagos State did its own just this week, Monday. It was done.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has arrested former Taraba State Governor Darius Ishaku over his alleged involvement in a 27 billion naira fraud case. Ishaku is facing 15 counts of criminal breach of trust, misappropriation, and diversion of public funds, all related to his former tenure as governor between 2015 and 2021. According to the EFCC, the former governor allegedly embezzled 1.01 billion naira between August 2015 and March 2016 from the 2.5% contingency fund of the Taraba State Bureau of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs. He is also accused of siphoning 3.348 billion naira from local government funds for personal use and diverting another 639 million naira for his own benefit. Let's also tell you that President Bola Tinubu joined Muslim faithfuls at the National Mosque in Abuja to attend the special Juma service, which is part of the Nigeria's 64th anniversary celebration. This was as the chief imam of the mosques urged citizens to remain united and have mutual respect for one another. News Centro's Amadin Uyi reports.
The Juma service was attended by President Bola Tinubu at the National Mosque in Abuja. The president joined the prayers with other Muslim faithful at the mosque.
Today, Mr. President attended the Juma service in commemoration of our 64th anniversary. And Mr. President Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, in addition to attending this Juma service, prayers were held for our nation. We congratulate him and we congratulate all Nigerians.
It's a time of celebration and prayers. May God Almighty grant our president good health. May he give Nigeria peace and harmony.
Senior officials present say Nigeria has fared well in the last 64 years, despite its numerous challenges.
64 years is worth celebration, and every day God spare you to spray to celebrate. We should thank God.
It's a remarkable journey of 64 years after our independence. So we show our gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us this opportunity to celebrate this year's anniversary.
The chief imam of the National Mosque urged citizens to remain united and cohabit with one another peacefully.
Let's all respect one another. We should be there for everybody. We should be there for ourselves. Let's be united so that we can tackle the current challenges that the country is facing, socially, economically, even the security-wise. With unity, definitely we will progress.
Officials present expressed optimism that Nigeria will surmount its current challenges. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadin Uyi.
And now to politics, as voting is underway in Anambra State for the local government elections organized by the Anambra State Independent Electoral Commission. The elections are taking place across 326 political wards and 5,891 polling units in the state's 21 local government areas. Though there is no visible security presence at most of the polling units visited by News Central's Austin Azu in Aguata Council area says that voters remain optimistic about a peaceful electoral process. Now, this marks the first time in 10 years that residents of Anambra are heading to the polls to elect local government chairmen and councillors tasked with representing them at the grassroots level.
Yes, we are here now waiting for those that will cast their votes. We are ready for them to come, and outside the center arranging the vicinity and the location to see that things is well done. I have voted. My polling booth is in Ozara village. Then if you bring your voter's card, they will look at it, find their name in the booklet, tick your name, they will give you a ballot paper, council and the chairman, then you go and vote. I have voted my own, and the voting is going smoothly. People are turning out, they are coming out, and I feel that everything will move quietly.
I voted and everything is going normal. It's okay.
Are you impressed with the turnout?
Well, people know you have a low turnout, but people are still coming out to vote.
I think this is going very well. If it will continue like this, I think there will be no problem.
And our correspondent Austin Azu joins us for more update on the election. Austin, well done. But let's get started. Where exactly are you, and what's the update so far?
All right, we are currently at Agwata local government area, Ward 1, Unit 002. This is the polling unit of the governor, Professor Soludo. He just did his voting not quite long, and he spoke on a wide range of issues ranging to the ongoing election and what he has gathered so far from the various polling units and the various wards. And he equally restated his commitment to ensure that he's able to consolidate on his promise that he made to the people of Anambra State. But meanwhile, we'll have some voters here to tell us more about the process so far. Okay, please come forward. Okay, tell us your name and tell us the process so far.
Good morning. My name is Yukeri Onyemobi. The process so far is that people were well coordinated, and the process was so amazing, environment peaceful, and we cast our vote very well. Thank you.
How do you feel 10 years after that you are coming to the poll to elect new local government chairmen and councillors?
What I call it is a process, and I thank God that we are alive to witness today, to cast our vote after 10 years. And I believe after this, it will continue. So it is a democracy, and we are achieving this great process by process. So we are so amazing to do that today after 10 years.
Thank you very much. We have another person, a candidate for the election. Please tell us your name and tell us the process so far.
My name is Okori Rivenu Sokube. I'm sincerely happy for today. Because Mr. Governor already said it that there must be an election, and he fulfilled the promise. So we are all happy. Everybody is happy that everything is okay as that today.
Okay, tell us through the security process in your particular ward. How is the voting ongoing, and what's the security like?
Okay, of course, there's no cause for alarm. The area is calm, and the weather is is clement. There's nobody, no harassment, nothing, and the process is serene, and everybody, it's free and fair as well.
We heard that some of your colleagues in another political party put out from the race. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, this year, I'm a candidate of All Progressive Grand Alliance, and throughout my vigorous campaign, I focus on myself. I don't know about my candidates this year. If they are on campaign, I don't know, but I'm after my own campaign, and I'm hopefully that by grace of God, by special grace of God, I will make it to my dream.
Okay. Thank you very much. We quite appreciate you. Of course, from what we have heard so far, it means that the voting is going on simultaneously across the 21 local government areas and across the 326 wards, and of course 586 polling units in the state. But we hope that this election we are going to have large numbers of voters. In as much we have large numbers of voters at this particular polling unit, we equally have some large numbers of voters in some of the polling units we went to. But as the day goes by, we'll definitely go to other polling units to see for ourselves the turnout of voters.
All right. Well, Austin, I must say thank you. Austin Azu there on ground there as the local government elections have kick-started in Anambra State. Once again, Austin, thank you so much. We'll switch gears now to bring you a short break. When we come back on the other side on News Central, now we talk about a flood alert as Lagos Ogun warn residents as Oyam Dam plans water release. More after the break. Hey, welcome back. Journalists have challenged to bring to fore the ethics of their profession as residents of Plateau State go to the polls come October 9th, 2024. The challenge was given by the chairman of the Plateau State Independent Electoral Commission, and that's Planji Shishak. Now, during a one-day workshop for members of the Fourth Estate of the realm for objective reportage of electoral activities, News Center's Chizoba Anyonwe took part in this exercise and now reports.
Electoral matters are sensitive issues that must be handled with every sense of responsibility in order not to create chaos in society before, during, and after elections. This is the crux of the one-day workshop on objective reportage for journalists as residents of Plateau State prepare to elect their grassroots leaders. Judith Ishaku maintained that as important as these elections are, journalists are one of the critical stakeholders that must be partnered. For him, objectivity of reportorials remains key throughout the process of the forthcoming polls.
This is a sensitive period to us, and I urge you to assist PLASEC and assist the state in ensuring that our reportage are not something that will cause conflict.
Taking charge and reporting accurately are some of the takeaways at the workshop.
In all of this, the journalist remains the gatekeeper. This is simply to say that in spite of all of the points and the issues raised about him, whether it's credible, whether it has ethical issues or moral issues, or whether he isn't even qualified, the role of the journalist is seen worldwide as a gatekeeper.
For these newsmen who gathered here under PLASEC, the impact of the workshop remains commendable.
It's very, very apt, it's very, very okay, and I'm hopeful that it will justify the means, and journalists will come out, in fact, with their best during the elections.
PLASEC calling us here to be able to remind us of this role is a commendable one. So it's telling us that as we are moving out, we need to balance things and not use our reports to cause any form of conflict in the society.
Basically, the objective of this training is to create a synergy between PLASEC and journalists, in the sense that when we are doing our reporting, when we are filing in our reporting, we'll be able to file objectively, irrespective of the political parties involved.
Having this kind of training will equip journalists with to understand how to present the information to the public.
12 days to the local government polls on the plateau. The state independent electoral body says it is 85% ready for the all-important exercise. In Jos for News Central, Chizoba Anyowe.
Away from politics, the Lagos and Ogun state governments have issued warnings to residents in flood-prone areas, particularly those living along riverbanks, to temporarily relocate or take precautions ahead of the planned release of water from the Oyan Dam. The release, managed by the Ogun-Osun River Basin Development Authority, is part of an annual effort to manage dam levels during the rainy season. Last year, residents of Isheri Riverview Estate and surrounding areas in Warawa and Opik in the Obafemi Awude local government area were affected by flooding caused by excess water released from the dam. Lagos State Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources Tokunbo Wahab said the federal government has begun dredging rivers along the dam corridor to prevent devastating floods such as the one that occurred in Maiduguri. Still talking floods, the Kebbi state government is appealing for support over the flood in the state, saying 329,000 houses have been destroyed by the disaster, while 858,000 hectares of farmlands have been washed away. The government said the farmlands contain crops such as rice, millet, guinea corn, sorghum, and beans, as well as other varieties. The Kebbi State Commissioner for Information and Culture, Yakubu Berni Kebbi, said the statistics at a briefing in Berni Kebbi on Friday. Berni Kebbi made it clear that the enormity of the flooding, the consequent havoc caused, and the level of mitigation required have overwhelmed the state government despite what it has put on the ground to provide succor to the victims. And now on to Nigeria's creative sector, as the federal government is set to grant financial support to members of the Practitioners of Content Creators, Skit Makers and the Influencers Guild of Nigeria. Now, this was made known by the association while addressing journalists in the nation's federal capital. They say that the distribution of the grant will commence in October and will help Nigerians into the act of skit making, develop their creativity and promote the nation's cultural and artistic expressions.
Thousands of upcoming content creators and models, influencers will benefit from this grant to help you in buying little production materials like cameras, lights, laptops, microphones, etc. We are going to be partnering with a bank that will help us create business accounts that will receive this grant for the content creators.
This is a new field of marketing, which is a combination of ATL, BTL, and TTL with direct conversions. And here, I am advocating that we further develop this field as a full career path, which can be studied in our universities.
Being an influencer and a content creator is a full-time job. Abroad, you see YouTubers, influencers, content creators, they are, I'm sorry, but they are billionaires. They're doing it great. But over here in Nigeria, when you say you're a content creator or an influencer, they look at you like, it's something we have to reconsider, right? As a full-time, proper career. Because yes, we are making good money from it.
Speaking of content creators, following the House of Representatives resolution to investigate allegations of bribery against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the Joint Committees of the House has extended an invitation to the chairman of the commission, and that is Ola Olukoyode. In a letter dated 27th September 2024, the committee asked the EFCC chairman and the Comptroller General of the Nigeria Correctional Service to appear on Monday, the 30th, with all officers involved in the allegation. The allegation of bribery against the Anti-Graft Agency and the Nigeria Correctional Service followed a trending social media voice conversation involving one Idris Okuneye, a cross-dresser sentenced earlier this year to 6 months in prison for abuse of the naira. And welcome back. We'll continue with news from the sidelines of the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly. As development, infrastructure upgrade, increased export and more investment are needed for growth in Africa, business leaders in Africa agree that this is possible by Africans with collaborations between governments and the private sector. We have more in this report. Take a look.
No one will develop Africa except Africa.
The Managing Director and CEO, First Bank Nigeria, Olusegun Alebiosun, echoed the voice of reason at one of the side events of UNGA organized for Africa's private sector. But funding is a known difficulty, and it had and still is plaguing many across Africa due to high interests. Incidentally, unlike many other African nations who either held or lowered interest rates at the end of their respective September Monetary Policy Committee meeting, Nigeria's central bank hiked interest for the 5th time and further making business financing more expensive.
As inflation trend down and interest rates start coming down, of course the environment will become more stable, and then banks will be able to lend for economic development.
Another major challenge is the economic migration of young, talented Nigerians.
Now, obviously technology, because technology, you can be extremely mobile. You're young, it's an attractive sector. So it does impact us to the extent that you can't backfill as quickly as you'd like.
And to solve such, rest in public-private partnerships to proffer sustained solutions.
But the reality is, governments across Africa, governments in Nigeria and other countries need to do a lot more in terms of creating the right kind of opportunities for these young people, not just in the tech space, whether it's in the medical space, whether it's in education or wherever it is, to find ways to encourage them to be meaningfully employed on the continent.
Truth be told, are African leaders doing enough to retain the army of youths or even adequately encourage their creativity? Are they listening or willing to make such reality possible in the near and distant future?
And we'll continue the news in West Africa, where a minister in Senegal's former government has been jailed on charges of extortion, embezzlement and money laundering during his previous role as head of the National Lottery. Lat Diop headed the National Lottery from 2020 and then served as sports minister from 2023 to 2024 under ex-president Macky Sall. He's the first former government minister to be detained under the new authorities, who took office in April. President Diomaye Faye and his Prime Minister Usman Sonko have repeatedly said they will seek accountability from the previous administration. And on to East Africa, a medical source told reporters on Friday that 48 people have been killed in 2 days of raids by Sudanese paramilitaries on the Darfur city of Al-Fashar, following international calls for an end to the nation's suffering. According to a medical source at Al-Fashar Teaching Hospital, paramilitary forces and the regular army continue to battle for control of North Darfur's capital. Artillery fire from the Rapid Support Forces killed 30 people and wounded many others on Friday alone. And on to South Africa, where 17 people were killed in a devastating mass shooting in South Africa's Eastern Cape, with 3 others critically injured. The incident occurred on Friday night in Yati village in Ngubazana, Lusikisiki, where victims believed to be relatives and neighbors were shot dead in a homestead. 13 victims, including 12 women and 1 man, were found in one house, while 4 more were discovered in another homestead. In total, 15 women and 2 men lost their lives. It is alleged that the victims were preparing for a traditional ritual scheduled for Saturday to mark the end of mourning for a mother and daughter murdered a year ago. The 3 injured survivors are currently fighting for their lives in the hospital. Very sad news there. You're watching news now on News Central TV. Still ahead, Hezbollah leader Nasrallah reportedly killed in Beirut airstrike, and we will tell you more about this after the break. Join us again. And we'll continue with news outside Africa. Vice President Kamala Harris, during her first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border as a presidential candidate, vowed on Friday to tighten border security and reform America's immigration system. Harris is seeking to close the gap on immigration, where polls show that a majority of Americans trust her Republican rival, Donald Trump, more on this critical issue ahead of November's election. Speaking to a supportive group in Douglas, Arizona, Harris balanced a tough stance on illegal migration with a pledge to work across party lines to fix what she called a broken immigration system.
And as president, I won't only bring back the border security bill that Donald Trump tanked, I will do more to secure our border. To reduce illegal border crossings, I will take further action to keep the border closed between ports of entry. Those who cross our borders unlawfully will be apprehended and removed and barred from re-entering for 5 years. We will pursue more severe criminal charges against repeat violators. And if someone does not make an asylum request at a legal point of entry and instead crosses our border unlawfully, they will be barred from receiving asylum. While we understand that many people are desperate to migrate to the United States, our system must be.
At least 43 people have died and millions are without power as Hurricane Helene swept through the southeastern U.S. Helene, the most powerful storm on record to hit Florida's Big Bend, moved north into Georgia and the Carolinas after making landfall late Thursday. Though the hurricane has weakened significantly, meteorologists warn that strong winds, flooding, and tornado threats remain. Roads and homes were submerged on Friday, with one family recounting how they had to swim to safety. Hundreds of Chileans, mostly women, marched through downtown Santiago as part of the Global Day of Action for Legal, Safe, and Accessible Abortion, calling for reforms to the country's abortion laws. Chile legalized abortion in 2017, but only under 3 circumstances: when the mother's life is at risk, when the fetus is not viable, and in cases of rape. In June, President Gabriel Boric announced plans to submit a bill to Congress that would expand abortion access. The bill is expected to be debated by the end of 2024.
Porque el aborto libre, gratuito y seguro no está implementado en Chile y creo que es necesario un asunto de salud pública más allá de los ideales que pueda tener uno. Porque me interesa que el aborto se despenalice. Considero que es muy importante que las mujeres tengamos el derecho de decidir y que la única causal importante es que sea nuestra decisión. Eso.
And on to the Middle East, as Israel's military claims Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah was killed in an airstrike in Beirut. The Israeli military is confident in their report, but there are unconfirmed reports that Nasrallah's condition is uncertain. The strike targeted Hezbollah's leadership and military positions, killing several commanders. The operation has caused significant damage and casualties in Lebanon, with over 700 people killed and 118,000 displaced. Tensions between Israel and Hezbollah remain high.
ممكن أن تتجه الأمور إنه هي حرب نفسية للضغط على الناس وعلى لحتى يمرروا مشروعهم.
In the meantime, Lebanese say they believe that Israel's announcement about having eliminated Hezbollah's leader Hassan Nasrallah in an airstrike on Beirut's southern suburb is part of a psychological war aimed at unsettling the population.
ممكن أن تتجه الأمور إنه هي حرب نفسية للضغط على الناس وعلى لحتى يمرروا مشروعهم.
هلا في غموض بعد، نحن ما في بيان رسمي، نحن يعني هلا حتى عنهم من حزب الله يعني، وبعد ما في يعني ما فيش بعد ما في حتى امبارح انه طلع انه سمحت السيد.
You're watching News Now on News Central TV. Up next is business news.
The landing cost of premium motor spirits known as petrol in Nigeria has dropped to 981 naira per litre, down from around 1,130 naira, according to the Major Energies Marketers Association. This decline, attributed to falling global crude oil prices, occurred as the price of Brent crude fluctuated between $70 and $75 per barrel. Despite the decrease in landing costs, pump prices have risen across the country. Major oil marketers have also started importing petrol previously monopolized by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company. The Dangote refinery is also ramping up local production. As of now, ex-depot prices range from 865 naira to 1,400 naira in various cities. The NNPC plans to sell Dangote petrol at competitive prices, with expectations for lower prices following the impending naira crude sale on October 1, 2024. On Friday, Zimbabwe sold its gold-backed currency, the Zimbabwe Gold, or ZiG, to banks at a rate of 44% lower than the prevailing dollar rate, effectively devaluing the currency. Lawrence Nyazema, president of the Bankers Association of Zimbabwe, confirmed that the official exchange rate had shifted from 14 to 25 per dollar, with an official statement expected by the end of the day. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe has not yet commented, but is set to announce its latest monetary policy decisions later. This move follows ongoing weakness in the unofficial ZiG market, raising doubts about the viability of the country's sixth attempt since 2009 to establish a stable local currency. Analysts believe the new currency will struggle for stability amid fiscal pressures and limited foreign currency flows. Finally, Libyan factions have reached an agreement to appoint a new central bank governor, a significant step towards resolving a dispute that has drastically reduced the country's oil output. Production fell to approximately 450,000 barrels per day during a month-long blockade, down from over 1 million. United Nations envoy Stephanie Corey welcomed the Eastern Authorities' commitment to reopening oil fields. The rival Eastern and Western governments had been in conflict over central bank leadership, which controls substantial energy revenue. Under the deal, Naji Issa will serve as governor, with Marai Albarasi as his deputy, tasked with selecting the remaining board members for legislative approval. This agreement marks progress in a country plagued by instability since the 2011 overthrow of dictator Muammar al-Gaddafi. And that's all on business news. I am Lekon Onobanjo.
EFL champions Rangers International FC of Enugu aim for a strong result this weekend in their matchday 4 fixture against last season's vice champions, and that's Remo Stars FC of Ikenne at Remo Stars Stadium. With both teams out of continental competitions, the match promises excitement as Rangers look to solidify their title defense while Remo Stars chase their first championship. Now, Rangers enter the game fresh off a 1-0 victory over Ikorodu City FC, while Remo Stars have yet to drop points or concede a goal this season. Historically, Rangers have a slight edge with 3 wins in 8 encounters. The match is set to kick off at 5:30 p.m. on Sunday, September 29, 2024. And now on to CAF, as Zamalek triumphed over Al-Ali, that's 4-3 on penalties after a 1-1 draw to win the CAF Super Cup in Riyadh on Friday. Al-Ali took a 1-0 lead in the 44th minute with a disputed penalty from Wessam Abu Ali. Now, Zamalek equalized in the 77th minute when substitute Nassar Mansi scored with his first touch. During the shootout, Zamalek converted all 4 penalties, while Al-Ali missed 2, with Mohamed Awad saving from Yaha, that's Atia Allah, and Boali hitting the post. This victory marked Zamalek's 5th Super Cup title in 6 attempts, while Al-Ali remains the most successful club with 8 wins, though they have now suffered 4 losses. And that's all we can take for sports. And also, that's all for this hour. But before we go, let's take a look at some of the major stories. Nigeria police file fresh terrorism charges against #EndBad Governance protesters. Lagos Ogun 1 residents as Oyan Dam plans water release. And we also brought you the sad news as 17 people gunned down in South Africa mass shooting. Remember that you can follow us on social media. We're at News Central TV. You can also watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. You can also remember to send us your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number now showing on the screen. I just got breaking news now that Hezbollah has now confirmed the killing of their leader Hassan Nasrallah by Israeli airstrikes on the capital there in the suburbs of Beirut in Lebanon. Once again, we now confirm that Hezbollah has confirmed the killing of their leader Hassan Nasrallah in the suburbs of Beirut in Lebanon by Israeli airstrikes. We'll bring you more on this in subsequent bulletins. Many thanks for watching. I'm Judith at Atibi. Bye for now.